Shall we begin?
We shall. Also, I'm loving that we're all coordinating.
Yeah, I love it too.
Like even your hair.
But you know,
like,
your brand to me is like this sleek
Yes.
black. So I was like, I'm gonna dress her brand.
You have a very specific personal brand.
I'm glad it's working because that's what I'm
working
going for.
It's working
It's so
well.
sleek. It's so sleek and like cool
so
and
sleek.
clean. We're doing bad job
We're doing
starting.
really bad job.
Wait.
Okay,
so much fun.
First we have to get into hi, who are you? So
Hi. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Welcome to our podcast. Thank you so much for coming on
Thanks for
it.
having me.
So we'll start with who are you? And then we can get into all other fun stuff.
Yeah. My name is Elle. I'm the founder of a company called Met Through Friends. So we do friends of friends dating events. We're known for the +1 party. So the idea is you bring a great single friend of the opposite sex or of the gender and orientation you're interested in to introduce them to other people. We believe that even if you haven't met your person, you probably know someone who'd be great for someone else. And we throw events now all over New York City and have expanded to 2 other cities in the East Coast so far.
Where?
DC and Boston coming up soon.
Wow.
Nice.
Congrats.
So thank you so much. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. I'm also a certified dating coach. So I do work with people one-on-one who want kind of support and help in sort of a guiding hand through this process, which has been a really great way to also work with people who want support in their dating journey. That's what I do.
How does one become a certified dating coach?
Yeah, so I trained under a coach named Christine Hart. She was sort of a pioneer in the dating coaching industry, as far as I'm aware, she's been doing it for 20 years. Really, before that was much of a thing, she started helping people date more effectively. She also ran a speed dating company and now trains other coaches. So I worked alongside her to really learn the ropes. It's an interesting industry because there's no like legal requirement to get certified or trained. Anyone can just say, I'm a coach, and anyone can do it. But it was really important to me to learn from people who had a lot of experience, even if there wasn't like a sort of, the way you get licensed as a therapist or anything. There's nothing like that for dating coaching. But I was like, I don't just want to be like, I went on dates sometimes, I know everything. It was important to me to learn from people, so that's what I did.
So how did you get from, let's say, age 18 to where you are now?
It's so funny because I always say I like fell into this backwards. Like I studied engineering in grad school. I like worked for a tech company for a number of years, and I just kind of kept doing this stuff on the side. I like to say I was my own first dating coaching client in the sense that like I actually dropped out of college for a year to just sort of like get my footing. I'd gotten really sick and I didn't know what I wanted to do and I just really needed a break. So I like moved back home and just got a job and was like, oh shoot, I don't have any peers. Like I don't even have any friends, much less people I can date. I was like 21 years old and I was like, I work for a law firm and like part-time for fashion designer and everyone's like 40 years old to my 21 and they have like kids and I was like, I need to figure out how to have a life at all. So it really was this exercise in jumping in the deep end and figuring out not just like how to make friends, but how to flirt and how to go on dates and how to like really take initiative in my own life. And then I was like, well, that was interesting, and went back to school and like, started doing everything I was doing. But this theme kind of kept creeping up, meeting new people, connecting with new people, connecting other people to new people. I started throwing singles parties for my own single friends as a joke in 2022 when I was like still at my tech job. And it started working. Like it really was kind of a bit for my friends. And then when I got laid off, I started the company and that was almost 2 years ago and I haven't looked back.
Wow. Okay, so I have so many questions for you, starting with dropping out of college for a year. So first of all, where are you from?
I'm from LA.
And where were you going to school?
I was at Stanford. So I was up in the Bay Area. West Coast, although I wanted to be on the East Coast my whole life. Both my parents from the East Coast and they like moved to California as adults and never planned to stay and then just did. So I was like very happy to get to the East Coast. I was like, oh, this makes sense to me actually. Like I like it here. But yeah, went to college in the Bay. I'd basically gotten mono and had just signed up for too many things and was overwhelmed, didn't really know what I was doing and really needed a break, and my body just kind of quit on me at a certain point. It was like, you need to like regroup. Which I did. So decided to really take that year to sort of figure myself out a little more outside the context of like, I'm going to school to get a degree and I'm trying to get a job, that very like linear kind of focus to be like, well, I've gotten off the treadmill. Like I'm going to get back on at some point, I think. But what if I just take this year to kind of explore myself and what I want to do and work, but not in a like, I'm getting the summer internship that will get me the full-time job. Just be like, I'm going to go back to college eventually, I think, and just sort of work. And I'm very grateful to my parents for kind of like, I think they saw that I was just incredibly burned out and they were like, come home.
I was gonna say,
Take a
like,
second.
you either have amazing parents or
Yeah.
you're incredibly
They are.
brave, or both, or because you have amazing parents, you're incredibly brave. Because I can't think of any 18, 19-year-old that would be like, I am confident enough to do what nobody else my age is doing, like to figure it out.
Oh, it was really scary. And I kind of thought my life was over at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I've dropped out of college. Everyone's going to see this on my resume and I'm never going to get a job. But it really was the sort of like, I was really sick, really burned out. I don't think I like got out of bed for like a really long time. Like it was just sort of, I think my parents were like, oh yeah, she needs a break. Like it did kind of get to the point where I think they were like, thank God you made this decision because we were going to have to make it for you. You didn't do it.
Wait, was this your freshman year?
No, it was after my sophomore year.
After your sophomore year.
I'd always been like a really ambitious and like kind of hardworking, like very goal-oriented kid. I had a million hobbies and extracurriculars. And I was doing the thing. And I think that worked up to a point. And then it was like, I needed to just be a person, be a human.
Like you burned out.
Yeah, I burned out.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I burned out pretty early. And it was such a gift though to just like get out of my own way a little bit and be like, nobody cares that you like took a year off when you were 21. Stop being quite so dramatic.
Yeah.
Like it's fine. It was definitely still an adolescence of sorts, but I had, you know, some more adult like responsibilities in a more adult life. So it ended up being a really great stepping stone. And it's like, my God, looking back, and then I was like, what was I so worried about? Like, so yeah, but it really was that sort of like, well, now what am I going to do? And it was really cool to like, I picked up a bunch of, you know, internships and part-time jobs and kind of learned what I wanted to do. I also quit my first job ever during that time. It was the first time I said like, I'm not liking this, and I actually don't have to keep doing it in a way that like school doesn't quite teach you. Like you sign up for the class, like you take the class, like you kind of see to the end. And it was like, actually, this is a bad fit and I'm going to cut my losses. And like to have those experiences of quitting things and picking new things up and starting them in a sort of professional context and educational context, but then also in a like personal context. I was like, if I don't do something, I'm going to play Scrabble with my parents every night for the rest of this year. Like it was really isolating. And I was like, I'm going to have to go make new friends and I'm going to have to do it alone.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to meet people. If I want to date, I have to figure that out by myself. There was no like, oh, I'm kind of like, I see people at work, that's good enough. It was like, I came home and played Scrabble with my parents.
Yeah,
So
which sounds like amazing.
It was,
That's my dream come true.
yeah, it was awesome for the first few weeks, but there was that moment where I was like, oh no, I can't do this for a year. Like something's got to change.
I give you so much credit.
Me too.
I get the vibe that you're very much a type A person. I'm also very much a type A person. She's not. Danielle's not so much. And I envy Danielle a lot for that. But we are so much harder on ourselves than anybody else is on us. Like you probably were thinking, I can't drop out because everyone is going to think X, Y, and Z about me. And I can't fail. I have to do it. I have to do it. And I give you so much credit that at age 20 or whatever you were.
At 20, basically.
Where your brain isn't even fully developed yet. And this sense of confidence that we develop in our later 20s and 30s, you were ahead of the curve. I really, really admire that. And I also admire that your parents supported it and encouraged it. Because that's so important.
Yeah.
Something else that we have as type A people, my therapist once said it, which is so true, is the cliff is always there for us. It's just a matter of not getting to the edge of the cliff. And for a lot of us, we eventually, our whole lives, we don't realize we're getting closer and closer and closer to the edge until we're at the edge.
Right.
What is the edge? A nervous breakdown?
Well, for me, it was. A nervous breakdown, dropping out of school. It happens to
I
that
flung myself off the cliff and I was like, I'm falling. I'm falling.
You just keep you just keep falling. But now I'm sure have been so many things that you've learned during that experience. Like those are all the tools now that keep you away from getting to the edge of the cliff again.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it was great practice, and it made me take a lot of things a lot less seriously, I think. Because, I mean, I can look back on it now and be like, yeah, that was a wise decision. But at the time, I was like, my life is over. Like, my life is over. Yeah. And it felt like, oh, right, there's so many steps before you hit the bottom. You know, it's like, okay, if you fall off the cliff, like, you can grab onto a branch. Like, you roll down the hill. Like, it felt like everything was over, but it just wasn't. It was like a reminder that you can kind of always pivot a little bit and try new things and put them down. Like, it's not like nothing's over. Like your life isn't over.
Right.
And that was a really helpful and grounding like learning and reminder, even though it was like really painful at the time. Like I can look back and it makes sense and it all fits together. But at the time I was like, what am I doing? What have I done? Like,
so how did you make friends during that time when you were pretty socially isolated?
yeah, it's so funny because it's like there were all kinds of things I tried. I like went places by myself a lot because I was like, it was sort of like, I remember like going to bars by myself. I was like, I don't know, like I have to figure this out. Anytime anyone was like, hey, I have a friend of a friend in the city, or like even my mom's like, my colleague has a daughter, like those things that would make you cringe when you're like a teenager. It's like, yes, I'm going. I mean, I don't care that they're 7 years older than me. Like, yes, I'm going. It really was that process of kind of saying yes to everything and like pulling on all the threads and kind of learning to do it enthusiastically. Like there was no room for that's awkward, that's cringe, I don't want to do that. I was like, yes, mom, I will meet your colleague's daughter. And I think another thing is that I know we are in a really complicated spot when it comes to dating apps, that we have a really tough relationship with them that I think is well earned in a lot of ways, but they were also a godsend for me at that time. And granted, that would have been like the 2010s, a very different time. They were new, people were using them very differently, and I used them for friends also. Those were such a lifeline for someone who's like, I don't have a group of college students my age doing stuff with me. Like I don't have any of that stuff. So to find people who are motivated to meet new people, like that's a lot of what I did. There was no more efficient way to find someone who was like, I also want to meet someone. Are you free tomorrow at 8 p.m.? I'm like, yep.
I think also what's very cool about dating apps, as much as they suck, is it's an opportunity to meet people that you may never cross paths with otherwise.
Totally.
It's a very cool way to connect, not just dating apps, but technology in general. So I definitely see the value in that early on. I mean, now they're so different, but early on.
Yeah. Definitely. Can we jump into dating a little bit? I want to talk about dating coaching.
Yeah.
Who was your first client? Like with maintaining as much anonymity as you can.
Yeah.
Like, who was this person? And did you feel like such an imposter?
So my first clients were people that I just said, I will do this for free for you if you will agree to this process with me, so that I can like work the kinks out, figure out if I even like this and I'm good at it, like all those sorts of things. So they were all either friends or friends of friends. Okay. It was like, I'm not charging you any money, so I don't feel like an imposter anyway. It's like, and if you don't like it, tell me so I don't do this with someone who is paying me. And, you know, I had some context for each of these people as well. So it was a little bit of like, okay, like I know who you are. And it was a really great kind of like ramp. And it was such a fun and interesting process to work with people who they came in with such different challenges. And, you know, obviously not to go into detail about any of these people in particular, but it was a really interesting exercise to see that like, okay, whether or not you're in a relationship at that given moment, I can be helpful. That was to just be like, I can nudge you in the right direction, and you felt like you got something out of this and you learned something and I learned something, was a really great jumping off point to be like, okay, I'm still new, but I can charge for this. Like I can figure this out.
And being that those first early clients were people that you knew or people you had relationships with, I'm sure it was easier to give feedback to them versus new clients who were paying and you didn't have a personal relationship with.
Right.
And there's kind of conflicting objectives there in that you want to keep them around as a client, so you want them to like you and have a positive customer service experience where they're like, I feel good when I see her. But also the objective is ultimately to help them find someone. So you do also need to give feedback that might hurt. So how did you get comfortable doing that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there's always a reminder that, like, look, the only person who either gets the benefits or suffers the consequences of any decision is them. Like, it's not me. Like, I am there to help, like, guide them to the outcome that they want and, like, help them see the consequences, positive or negative, of the choices they're making. But it's like, if they decide they don't want to do it, like, it's not me. Like, I don't have to be in the relationship. I don't have to live their life. To take a step back, with all of my ongoing clients, we spend a lot of time figuring out, like, what is it that you actually want? Because a lot of people come in the door and they're like, I want a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And you're like, you gotta give me a little more than
Specifics.
that. Yeah, we gotta be a little more specific and a little more not like rigid, specific, but the sort of like, what kind of life do you want to live?
Can we play this game with Danielle?
Oh yeah. Oh, why not you?
I
think we should play it with both of us.
No, I don't know. I'm embarrassed.
Okay. So one of my favorite exercises to start with is I give people like a big blue sky exercise where I'm like, I want you to write down every single thing you ever thought you would like in a partner. Nitty gritty, super specific, blue sky, huge. And also like anything you've ever used to make a decision before, the sort of like, oh, even if it's as small as like, I want them to have nice shoes or whatever. Like, and also think about the way that you want to feel. So write it all down, big brain dump, as well as the sort of, always remembering to keep it in the positive also. Not like, I don't want someone who's emotionally immature. Like, okay, you want someone emotionally mature, which means what? Which makes you want to feel what? So we start there, and then we go through a process of refining it by going, which of these qualities are things you would rather be single than go without? So to ask a really specific question of sort of
that.
not just like, do you like this as a preference you have? You're entitled to your preferences, absolutely. But we're using it to actually make a decision. So if you're like, I want someone tall, whatever, and I really like the way that makes me feel in their presence. It's like, okay, but would you rather be single than be than be with someone who wasn't this height? So then the process is figuring out what are those qualities in total for you personally that feel specific, feel exciting, feel good, and feel achievable.
Yeah.
Where any one of those things is missing, you're like, I'd rather be single.
Do you find that people are honest right off the bat?
Absolutely not. No, never.
Like, it's hard when you've just met a new person
yeah.
and you haven't necessarily established the trust with them yet.
Totally.
Like, I'm sure there's a rapport that you early on, just because you're so charismatic and easy to talk to, that I'm sure they like you right away, but they don't necessarily trust you right away.
Totally. Absolutely. This is why we spend a while on these things. And also, it's like, it's hard, right? Like, most people come in, I see kind of like two archetypes. One being like, I have this really long specific list, and like, where do I go to find this? Or they're like, just give me someone nice. And cute. And you're like, I want more for you than that.
Yeah. Like, I feel like there's a third type, which is like, I don't really have that many requirements. Like, I just want a nice person, but there is secretly a really long list.
Exactly. And some of those are fear that it doesn't exist, so they don't want to say it out loud, because if they say it out loud and then it doesn't happen, the idea is it'll feel a lot worse. Or some of it is like, I don't believe that's possible for me, or I don't deserve that, or I got hurt, or maybe I'm like ashamed of this preference. Maybe like I believe that it's shallow, whatever it is.
I wonder also if one of the reasons why too is because there's this fear of being embarrassed. Like, I'm asking for this, but am I good enough to ask for that? And this stranger doesn't know me, and is she going to judge me and be like, why do you want someone like you're not good enough or something like that? Which I don't think you should do. It's all from self.
Totally. So a lot of that is like, you're allowed to want whatever it is you want. And I think also when we spend a lot of time thinking about like, oh, these are the big emotional aspirational qualities, we lose track of that like fun stuff. Also, it's like, I want to think they're cute. And I'm like, you should think they're cute. My God. Like, and the idea that, I shouldn't focus on these like more superficial qualities because they're too shallow. It's like, well, would you like your partner to be with you to be like, I'm not attracted to them. They have a good soul, but they're not cute. They don't get me like fired up. I'm like, you're entitled to that. And I think there is a way of tethering that to reality to be like, okay, they don't need to be the hottest person you've ever seen in your life, but you should think your partner's hot. Yeah. That's okay. Like, it should be fun. Actually,
you should be attracted to your partner.
I want you to feel giddy and excited and happy, and I want you to look forward to it.
Oh my God, I want you to be my dating coach.
I have so many questions for you as I'm hearing your thought process, and I'm like, oh my God, there are so many tangents that we need to go on. You said before that they might say like they're just open to anything, but they might secretly have a list. And it's that they're not sharing it because they're scared that they won't get it, or they have a fear of rejection, or someone broke their trust in a previous relationship. When you learn that, how close to those topics are you comfortable getting before you start to feel like maybe I'm not in my scope?
Totally. I like to keep a kind of wide berth around a lot of those things, in the sense that coaching is, the best kind of practical line is sort of, coaching is forward looking. We're sort of figuring out what we can do to move forward. What actions can you engage in now? I sort of assume wellness. I assume you're in a good place. And in fact, a lot of people come to me after they've been in therapy for a while, and they're like, okay, I feel like I'm in a good place, but my therapist can no longer help me with this. I'm not sort of getting the practical guidance that I need to really move forward. So they often have like a therapist, that they can talk to. And if we ever discover something where I'm like, this isn't my lane, I'm like, this is something you should talk with someone else about. But, they come in with in progress stories, and they come in with things that have hurt them in the past. So it's really a sort of, how can we help you make decisions moving forward differently, while acknowledging that that's where you came from and that's part of your story, but really thinking about how do we empower you to make decisions differently around this that you feel in control of and that feel healthy for you.
do you ever feel like you need to steer them there? Like, do you ever feel like people are trying to use that time as an opportunity to dig into the past or get therapy?
Interesting. I don't know that I need to sort of steer people in that direction. I say a lot of that, a lot of the hard things will kind of come up after a session or two anyways. We'll maybe spend the first session like, I don't know where to meet people. Tell me what bar to go to. And then it's like, well, my ex actually really hurt me and I'm feeling like, I'm not confident that won't happen again. So I'm actually scared to it. Whatever it is will end up coming up. So it'll come up quickly. And it's that reminder of you are in a different place with a different amount of knowledge and different degrees of control. We can plan for some of these things to help make sure that you don't feel completely out of control in this process. And you also have other people in your corner who can help you with things that I can't help you with, and sort of like getting that sense of planting both feet on the ground a little bit differently.
You're so good.
Yeah, you completely changed my whole thoughts on dating coaching has been completely flipped on its head.
Really?
Yeah. In the however many minutes we've been talking, I'm like, you are incredible. You are doing exactly what you should be doing.
Exactly what you should be doing.
Anyone that comes to you for dating advice probably is obsessed with you because I love that you're not losing the fun part of it. You're like, no, you should find them cute. You should get giddy.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be. I feel like there's in general, dating just has such a negative stigma, an icky stigma, and like an icky feeling about it, especially all the dating apps and the technology and this feeling of like, well, this person's gonna give me dating advice, but like, why should I trust them or listen to them? And I just feel so different after listening to you talk about the way that you approach it with your clients.
I really am hesitant to give like tips. People are always like, what are the tips? I'm like, I don't know you. I don't know what you want. Like something that works for one person doesn't work for someone else. So I feel much more comfortable and I feel like it's much more effective when we like co-create something together. Like, who are you? What kind of life do you want to live and who do you want to build that life with? Let's do something that works for you. So people like top bars or like top tips for flirting. I'm like, I don't know you. I might get a client who's like, they haven't been on a date in years and years and in fact haven't made any new friends in a really long time. They're going to be in such a different place than the person who's like, I'm a social butterfly but I'm burnt out. It's a lot more, I think, like being a personal trainer than it is like being a doctor or a therapist or any of those kinds of things. Someone might just want to like be more comfortable walking up a set of stairs and like not be winded, and someone else might want to run a marathon, and someone else might want to be an Olympic powerlifter, like whatever it is.
I love that.
So what do you want? And some people really are just like, I want to feel more confident on dates. I'm actually not looking for my soulmate right now, but I'm terrified of this process.
Right. And along the same vein, it's not like you have certain metrics that they have to meet. Like a doctor being like, okay, we need to get the lab value down to this across the board. Any diabetic patient needs their
needs to not be there.
For you, it's like, no, everybody can have a different threshold that is considered success for them or failure to them.
Totally. And I always ask at the beginning, it's like, look, I know people come to a dating coach because they want to date someone, and ideally, most people want that to turn into something. Not everybody, but they're like, I'm maybe looking for my person, my longtime partner. But I always make sure to ask, it's like, I can't promise you that. No one can promise you that. Someone who does promise you that, you should probably run. What else would be success for you in this process? And that's where we start getting into, I want to feel more confident on first dates. Like, I want to stop choosing people who don't choose me back. I want to not end up in relationships too fast that are the wrong fit. All those sorts of things. Then we go, okay, that's what we're going to focus on for you. And of course, we're going to round out the picture. We're going to look at your profile. We're going to see where you're spending your time. We're going to make sure you have those basic flirting mechanics down. But we're also going to be like, okay, for you, it was, I don't just want to say yes to the first person who wants me back. I'm going to think clearly about how I choose in alignment with my values and my goals.
So what is the gender split? Who do you mostly coach?
It's pretty even, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I get both. Maybe marginally more women, but it's pretty balanced.
And is there anything in particular since doing this that you've learned from either men or women that you're like, wow, I did not realize that this is such a common theme with dating in their mind, like the common thought?
I wouldn't say, I feel like I've had so many conversations over the years, and now I've hosted close to 3,000 people at events and had so many conversations. So it's not so much that anything is like new and sort of surprising. But what I will say is like working with, both men and women, people who are straight, people who are queer, there is that sense of like, everyone kind of comes in with a story about why dating is hard, and dating is probably uniquely hard for them. And everyone does have unique challenges, and it's not always fair and equal. And some people have an easier time dating than others. Like, all of that is true. It helps me to coach a variety of different people and be like, some of these are just human challenges. Like, we all are scared of being rejected
Right.
and like worried that the relationship that we want isn't out there for us, or that we can't accomplish it, or we won't find it in time, or we're not good enough, and the people we want don't want us back, and that's not fair, and that's really frustrating. Like those are just like really kind of human things. So anytime someone comes in with a really particular story, it's like, all men are this and they have it easy and I have it hard. It's like, well, I literally just got off the phone with a man who was like, women have it easy and I have it hard, and this is why. And it's that sort of reminder that like everyone is just a person going through stuff, and those things are all really universal. Everybody's scared. So it's one of the things I really like about working with a variety of people, is that I see what's different. There are legitimately different challenges to say men face, women face, queer folks face, but there are some really common threads between them all that helps, I think, humanize this word. So how can we remember that people are people? You are going to meet people, not demographics. Like you're going to meet individual human beings.
Right. So, okay. So you do the coaching and then you do Met Through Friends events. And just to like revisit that. So basically that is you show up, you're single, you show up with somebody of the gender, sexual orientation that you're interested in dating, though it could be that they're your platonic friend. It could be something that maybe you have a secret crush on and you want to kind of fill it out at this event. You do that so that there's an equal balance, a good gender split there, which is very, very smart. We co-hosted an event with you once. It was fantastic. The people that you bring are great. We actually know somebody who used our app and then we became friends with him, and he actually coincidentally has been to your events,
And he's been to more than one, actually.
and he spoke so highly of them.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. I'm actually curious who this is. We'll talk
we'll
about it there.
So you do both. Do you like one more than the other?
Ooh, I like them for different reasons, and I actually think they complement each other really well, because I think the thing with events is like you're actually getting people are taking action right there, and you have some control over the environment, and you can make nudges to make things happen, and you're seeing it all happen in real time. But you can't like get under the hood with people there. Like they didn't ask for your advice. They probably don't want it. That's like not my place. And also like they're there for a couple of hours and then they leave. But I do really like being there in the action, because some of what, can happen in coaching if you're not careful is like you can spend a lot of time talking about what's hard and making plans and then not doing them. But at the same time, with coaching, you can really figure out like, well, what's actually going on? Because I found that pretty much bar none, people come in with a story about what's going on and what the hard part is. And then after a few sessions, we find like it's way over here, actually, instead. We were so focused on it's that people don't find me attractive or whatever it is. How can I be more palatable or more, be more attractive to people I'm interested in? And we're like, okay, the problem is actually way over here. Or it's, that it's like, I'm just not in spaces where I'm meeting people. Like, where can I go? And it's like, well, actually, it's we're dealing with challenges of self-esteem or, whatever it is. We end up somewhere very different. So there can be times where I'm at an event and I see someone like stuck and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I was like, you didn't ask me.
I was going to ask you, if I were in your shoes, I'd be like, man, I need to go coach them. I need to go coach them. Like I'm watching them like crash and burn right now in real time, but you can't.
But if they're your client, are they ever your clients? Like, are you
Sometimes.
ever? And then is it okay to? Or
I
coach them,
don't.
or-
I
okay.
don't. And it doesn't happen super often, because the kind of person who wants to like come to a party is not always the same archetype as the kind of person who wants to work with a coach. And some of my clients don't even live in New York. So, they're somewhere else entirely. But I will say like they're both fun and rewarding in different ways. But yeah.
So when it comes to your coaching clients, are people generally also using dating apps? Or, okay,
Yes.
so is it more difficult for you when you have a client who is not a dating app user and you need to help support them in the wild?
I wouldn't say so. No, and I'd say the kind of person who's also not a dating app user in 2025 is also kind of a different archetype of person. The kind of person who either never did or is like really made a commitment to not using them. Because a lot of the time, what I'll see instead is people are like, I don't want to be using them, but I've gotten so used to the convenience of it that dating offline feels really slow and really low reward. It's like, no, you're doing it right. This is just, you have to put in a lot more effort in person, and you have to understand that there's no buffet anywhere. Like you have to make the opportunities happen, and you might only get one date a month doing it that way. And that's how that works. So,
And that's how that works. It's so true. And that's
and if you want it to be different, you have to be hustling.
Yeah.
Like, is that what you want to do? And some people do. And I think it can be a really powerful exercise for people to engage with that and embrace that. But there are a lot of people who are like, I don't want to be using the dating apps, but I also don't want to be making small talk, smiling at strangers, going to all these activities. Like, I actually don't want to do that. And some of it is like, okay, they're kind of only really two options here.
Right.
Like, if you want volume,
Yeah.
you get that on a dating app, or you really hustle in person. And I think they can actually be a really complementary set of tools, because I don't want anyone to be exhausted and burned out by this process. So I do really like that dating apps can be just a way to meet other people you know are single and are looking to date. And you can't always guarantee what's going to happen if you have a single thing in common, what they're going to be like in person. You kind of need to accept that about dating apps. But there's, in a lot of ways, no better tool for being like, this is where the single people are. They're here on this app. On the flip side, I think there's nothing more valuable than that skill set of like, I'm going to go be brave and talk to people in person. I'm going to embrace uncertainty, and I'm going to ask the hard question, and I'm going to practice flirting, and I'm going to be in the world, and I'm going to say yes to new opportunities. That sort of really embodied piece of dating. There really is no replacement for that other than being offline. But it's like, just because you joined the kickball league doesn't mean anyone is even single in that kickball league.
Right.
Or that they happen to be interested in you, or that you feel confident enough to go after it at that particular moment in time. And what I see kind of evolving is they're really good complementary tools, which honestly is kind of how they were pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Like, I think
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, that's how we used to use them before the world shut down and all these other things fell off our plate. That's how I used them.
Totally.
I
Completely.
met my fiance on a dating app, but I had a really full, rich social life. I also met people like at parties and through friends and all those other kinds of things. And I think that's a much healthier and more productive way to use them. So it's nudging people to say, like, you don't have to not be on the dating app, but you can't only be on the dating
Yes.
apps. That's going to be a really, really hard way to go.
Totally.
Yeah, and I think that people are very extreme in their thinking. Like, there are people who are like, I'm ditching dating apps. I'm not using them anymore. I'm done with dating apps. Or even just there's kind of this cultural movement of being done with dating apps.
Right.
But the pendulum is swinging a little too far in that direction. Like, I do think people are going to realize that if they want the volume, they are going to need to use some sort of tech tool to meet more people. Not necessarily dating apps, but like they're still going to need to use technology if they want to meet that many people.
Right.
Like, you're not going to conveniently meet that many people not using an app.
Right. So, or you need to go like speed dating.
Like,
Yeah,
every
I
day.
know.
Like, literally every day.
Which honestly, back in the day before the technology, people didn't realize that there was a buffet and a faster way to meet people. So we were okay with it being a slow process.
Yes.
That was just how it worked. And I do think there is an element of like, okay, if you want that kind of volume, go on the dating apps. That's like, why do we need that kind of volume?
Totally.
I'm not sure that's good for us. in a lot of
Totally.
ways.
It's not.
Um,
It's all ego.
I think that, yeah, it's going to be slow if you don't use the dating apps, and yes, you're not going to get volume, but if you have fewer people to choose from, then you're going to look more deeply examining each person. And people kind of don't take the time to dig in and examine someone because they are so ready to move on to the next person. There's like a whole line of people that are waiting.
Right.
And so there is something to be said about fewer options.
Totally. And to just like kind of share a personal story, like I met my fiance 10 days before the New York lockdowns for COVID. It was the last date I ever went on. It happened to be from a dating app, but there was this really beautiful moment of having to slow down. It was like, no more matches. Like, we're not going outside. We don't know what's going to happen. Is this what I want? And having to really slow down. And it's like, I like to think I would have made that decision otherwise, and like I think I probably would have, but there is that, I wish people that moment of, I'm just gonna slow down and not think in the abstract about dating, but think about like the human being that's right in front of me, and like give it time to blossom. Like, a first date is often like a really bad test of like compatibility. It's like, how sparkly are you in a 1 hour conversation? And in a lot of ways, the relationships that you might build through getting to know someone through work or college or your sports league, or they're a friend of your friend, you get to see people in more context. And I completely understand the impulse that it's like, if I know it's not my person, I don't want to waste my time. That's like a completely natural impulse. But how can I encourage someone to slow down and say, like, I'm going to give this a second or third shot, and I'm not wasting my time. I'm learning. I'm getting time to like reflect. And a 30-minute coffee meetup is not a waste of my time. Like, lowering the stakes on spending time on this, that they're all valuable learning experiences with other real human beings. Like, they're not products, they're people.
Right.
And give them the decency of a closer look.
On that same note, I'm curious how you feel about people dating multiple people at once.
Yeah, I feel fine about that, honestly, as long as you're honest and clear about that, particularly for people who might be in the position where they tend to like catch feelings really, really fast. It can be a really helpful exercise to be like, you don't have to do anything disrespectful. You don't have to lie. And you also don't, you know, if maybe the boundary for you is like, I don't want to be physically intimate with anyone until I know that I want to be in a committed relationship. Like, figure out what that looks like for you. But it can help you to be like, wow, I see two different human beings who bring a different set of qualities and light me up in a different way. How do I want to feel? Like, and I think that can be really helpful. You know, it's not for everybody. Some people are like, I simply can't handle it. Like, it's not for me, or it doesn't feel right to me. And I think that's absolutely fine. But for people who are like, you know, I just want to, like, I have the time and I'm putting in the effort and the energy to get to know multiple people respectfully, I think it can be a really beautiful choice.
I could probably benefit from that.
You could definitely benefit from that.
get
You
very
should
obsessed.
immediately start dating multiple people.
I get very obsessed
Yeah.
with like the flavor of the week, and it's the obsessions get very obsessive, and I think it would probably be helpful to dilute them.
Right. Yeah. It's nice to just say, like, I can be excited.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. But also, it's like, I have another date lined up with another human being.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, like, give them my time and attention. Then I'm going to reflect.
Yes.
Like, what did I learn?
Yeah.
But yeah, to slow down a little bit. And also, you know, for some people who are like, oh, I'm just going to, like, zoom ahead and I'm going to spend 4 nights a week with them, like, right after I met them, to be like, you get 1.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. Like, slow and like continue to live your life and like see how this person fits into it. Like, invest, but don't sort of over invest. And a lot of the work that I end up doing with people who find that they're like, I get attached really quickly, or I like binge and purge on this kind of thing, is like how to create a sustainable schedule where you don't abandon the rest of your life and you figure out how this person fits into it. Sometimes it's like, I actually want you to do less sustainably, and figuring out what that looks like for each person. So,
well, you are such an expert.
Thank you.
Expert
Yeah.
on dating and just interpersonal relationships, regardless of dating. I think even friendship, like I think you have your philosophies are like so grounded in truth and are actual real experiences in the modern world. And I have so much respect for you and think that anybody who works with you is extremely lucky.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
welcome.
gonna
Kind.
start working with you. I think after this, it's incredible. Before we wrap, where can people find you? And everyone should find and follow you and should cheer you on as you're getting married in a couple of months.
Yeah, it's happening so soon. I'm so glad we were able to sneak this in right before I take off, like, next week. Met_through_friends on Instagram, and met-through-friends.com. If you go to the website, you'll find anything and everything. You can learn more about what we do, the events we do, how coaching works, a little bit more about our story, and yeah, I can't wait to meet you and all your friends soon.
And if you are single, you need to go to a Met Through Friends event. We've been. They're incredible.
Yes,
Come
you need to
join
go to a
us.
+1 party. You need to go on TikTok. You need to see our +1 party and look at all the amazing content. Thank you so much for
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
PlotTwist the Pod is brought to you by the PlotTwist app, where you team up with someone you know, connect with people you don't, and make group plans that turn strangers into community.
PlotTwist the Pod is hosted by us, Julie Griggs and Danielle Dietzek, affectionately known as the Clinically Twisted Sisters.
Our executive producers are the Clinically Twisted Sisters.
Our researchers are also the Clinically Twisted Sisters.
Original scores by, the Clinically Twisted Sisters.
A special thanks to, you guessed it, the Clinically Twisted Sisters.
Do you want to meet new people, but it feels too intimidating to do it alone? Well, everything is easier with a +1. Grab a friend, head over to your app store, and download PlotTwist. Oh, okay.